You know, divining rods have their own sort of checkered past. And I think that they're very good. People have used them, of course, dowsing rods, divining rods, you know, to search for water and things of that sort. So they have proved their use. The problem, okay, well, I guess basically comes down to, do I think ghosts could interact with them? Sure, why not? They're metal. They conduct electricity. So it's entirely feasible that a ghost could move its energy through this piece of metal and make them move. The problem is there's no real way to control their movement. Since you have to hold them in your hands, and you're usually walking around the dark, it's really easy, you know, to not even notice that your own hand is just ever so slightly cocking one direction or the other. So it's real easy for those rods to move accidentally, and sometimes on purpose if someone wants to sort of make them do something. So I think until they're able to, I guess, make a set of divining rods that has maybe a level or something. Yeah, so that on video you could see that little bubble's always floating level, so there's no messing with it. They're not very useful for us because you're always going to have people say, you faked it, or that's just your hand moving. And so since, if it's not of scientific use to us, if we can't place that on the table and say, that's our evidence, we don't use it. Hmm.
Okay, where am I? How do you set up a controlled environment in a larger home or haunted place?
Well, you send the residents packing usually. The best control that you can have is to know who's there. The smaller the people who are in the place, the less voices that you have to know. Mike and I have known each other, like I say, since junior high school. I would know Mike's voice instantly. He knows my voice instantly. So I don't know the owner's voices. You know, so if, you know, one of them was in the next room and they said, "Heavens to Betsy," you know, it would be entirely possible for me to go, "Oh my gosh, the ghost just said heavens to Betsy," you know? So usually controlling the environment is about, you know, just keeping your team small, everyone else out, and doing away with anything that would contaminate the evidence. You know, the obvious things: turn off air conditioners, heating systems, and if you're beginning ghost group and you don't have a lot of gear, which is probably going to be the case, you know, because you've got 2 video cameras, a couple of audio recorders, well, you know, concentrate on one area at a time. You know, start with the highest probability location. You know, like say, things always happen in George Brumder's room upstairs. Well, start with George Brumder's room. You know, close off that door, turn off the air conditioners, make sure there's only 2 people in the whole house, not just that room. Those audio recorders have highly sensitive microphones. They can hear a person chewing the fat 3 rooms away, you know, or television or radio or anything. And all these things get mistaken for EVPs and ghost voices all the time. So, you know, pick an area, make it as secure and quiet and clean as possible, and concentrate on the area. Then move to the next area, and move to the next area, and keep it controlled. Don't try to tackle the whole house in one whack, because it's just very difficult. Unless you've got a lot of gear and a lot of time, it's going to be very difficult to do.
Sometimes it takes more than one visit to actually get evidence?
Sometimes. I mean, ghosts don't always perform on command. You know, just because you show up and say, "Reveal yourself to me," it doesn't mean that the ghost is gonna, you know, well, okay, why not? It may not, you know. I mean, you know, maybe they take vacation. Who knows? You know, we've gone to places 4, 5, 6 times and gotten some things. Sometimes we've gone and nothing other times. So, and residents know this. You're here every day. Does something happen every day? No, absolutely not. So it's ludicrous for a paranormal group to come in, spend 4 hours, and nothing happens, and go, "Yeah, they're not haunted." Well, that's silly. I mean, I'm quite sure there are stretches every single day, you know, that the residents or the employees or whomever are in a place that nothing happens. So it's always bothered me when ghost groups, paranormal groups, people out there declare a place to be not haunted. Well, who are you? If you lived there 20 years, something may not happen, and it's maybe a dormant activity. People say that about I hate to bring another controversial house, but you know, people say that about the Amityville house, for instance. You know, certain residents go to the Amityville house, and you know, very dramatic things have happened there, if you believe the reports. And other people who have gone in there have said, you know, nothing happens here. Quit bugging us. And as much, I think that has as much to do with attitude and interaction. You know, if you ignore the ghosts, well, it seems that sometimes they ignore you. So I think a lot of people, you know, people live in these haunted places, and the little things that, say, a believer would say, what was that, you know, or my things are getting moved around, you know, where they might think it's paranormal, a non-believer would just sort of write it off as, well, I forgot and I moved them, you know, and that sort of thing. So absolutely, never declare a place to not be haunted, and absolutely, it may take multiple trips to go to a place to get it done, and that's something that clients should realize too. You know, if you call ghost hunter groups or a paranormal group in, you shouldn't expect results right off the bat. You know, I mean, something may, I mean, you should know this, you know, you spend days in the house, so it may take several trips. So, you know, find one you trust and, you know, give them reasonable access and time, and hopefully they can help you out in that regard. And that's why most ghost hunter groups don't charge for investigations, is because they don't want the obligation to have to produce something for you. You know, if they've charged you $100 to be there, then now, you know, if they don't produce something, you're gonna be like, that was $100 wasted. You know, so right, so yeah, so just know, just from the get-go, it may take some time.